Welcome back to Adobe Photoshop CC. In this tutorial, we're going to basically go over the crop tool. So quite often you want to edit your photos. I recommend always taking your images at the largest file size possible. So these are actually originally camera raw photos that were brought in, and one is saved out as a PSD right now, but it was originally a raw file. And this one here is a raw file that you can see here. It has the .cr2 extension here. And basically at this point, if you want to zoom in a little bit and crop, you can do that. And it just gives you a little more flexibility, you know. So the crop tool has the hotkey of C. It's right over here on the tool palette on the left. And if you hover over it, the tooltip will give you that indication of the crop tool C. I'm just going to click on it. So as you click on it, you basically get these little widgets you can basically drag out, and you can crop basically however much you want. You can just grab, any corner that you want. You can drag and move it around. If you click out anywhere, you can rotate even. So if you need to rotate this way, you can do that. And then if you actually wanted to apply the actual crop that you decided to do, there's a couple different ways. You can click this little checkbox here, or you can simply click the enter or return on the Mac. One thing to be aware of first, though, is this little checkbox here that says delete crop pixels. If you have that checked, when you hit enter or return on the Mac, what happens is if I switch to the move tool, basically if I try and move this image, which I have to unlock it first, it is cropped. This is permanently cropped in, as you can see here. So let me undo that a couple of times so you can see here. And what I'm going to do now is do the crop tool again, and let's drag it out, maybe something like this. And this time what I'll do is I will uncheck that delete crop tool, the delete crop pixels, and then hit enter or return on the Mac. Now what happens is when you uncheck that, is watch what happens. I will select this layer and reposition it and pull up, and you can see that the image still has retained its full image size. So I'm just repositioning it in this smaller cropped sort of little window, almost like a mask if you want to say. So let me undo a couple times till I get back to the original crop here. Now one thing that's very popular with cropping, if I hit the C key again, by the way, you can draw out anywhere in here. Like if I want to draw a selection, I can just click and draw like that. But one thing that is very popular with the crop tool is working with ratios or fixed sizes. So over here in the options, you have the ability to switch to like 8.5 by 11, and then as you drag it, it's essentially going to be always an 8.5 by 11 proportion. Or you can switch to a ratio of say like 16:9, which is like film size. So if you want that kind of ratio, you can click and drag, and you don't have to worry about it ever changing. And then you can reposition wherever you want here. You can clear that out just by simply clicking the clear button here. The other option you have here is you can cancel out just by clicking on little sort of Ghostbuster thing symbol, and basically we're back at the beginning here with the crop tool. Now one thing that's very popular with the crop tool is basically straighten out the image. If you look very carefully at the horizon line here, it does slant downwards a little bit. And so with the crop tool selected, there is the ability to straighten right here in the options. It's this little widget here. If you click on it, it makes it active, and you get this little cursor. And the way it works, you click anywhere along the horizon, and then you hold the mouse down, and you get this basically a long line. And I'm not releasing it, and basically what I want to do is kind of line it up to the position here, and sort of match the horizon however I want. Once I release it, what happens is the image completely turns and matches that rotation and balances out. Now it doesn't mean you can't adjust it. I could further rotate or scale it out and so forth. If I wanted to give a slight rotation, I can do that in either direction. I could still scale it in or scale it out. I may decide to crop some of the sky on here. I don't know, I'm trying to see here. Might be more interesting to have a little bit less of the sky in this particular image. But once you have decided, again, if you don't check this box, delete crop pixels, Once you click enter or return, you basically have the ability to reposition that image. And because I haven't had that layer selected, now I select that layer, it's still underneath. So I have the ability to again have some extra edit time to recompose, because perhaps I wasn't so interested in having so much blank earth here in the foreground. Maybe I wanted more of the sky to be shown, which was the opposite thinking in the beginning. So that is the basics of working with the crop tool. There is one added feature that is very, very powerful that has been added recently. Let me show you, demonstrate with this image here. What I'm going to do is hit Control or Command minus a couple times to zoom out a little bit and grab the crop tool again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand the top here. Now, anytime you expand past the image, you basically get transparent pixels, right? So if I actually chose to crop at this point, what would happen is you would see transparent pixels, right? But there is a way to actually fill this in and actually have this image replaced with an extension of the pixels of the cloud. And it's done through this process called content aware. It's this little checkbox here next to delete crop pixels. You check this little box here. Once you do that, and make sure you don't have the delete crop pixels checked, you go ahead and hit enter return or click on that little checkbox, and either one will work. And basically, Photoshop will determine how to crop the image. I didn't like it work that time. Let me undo that real quick. The reason why it might have been is I didn't have the actual photo selected. So let me select the photo again and click in here, and let's repeat that action one more time and make sure I have content aware checked, and then hit enter or return. And now it's working. So you have this calculation, you have the fill option happening, and just like that, Photoshop has added these amazing sort of repetition of clouds. Now sometimes they get a little repetitive and they look like, obviously, like someone did sort of a bad clone job. So you could undo that and try again, which is what I would do here. Maybe have just a little bit less of the clouds, and actually it doesn't really need that much more. So I'm thinking something like this might be kind of cool, and then hit enter return. And I forgot to, let's do that one more time. I forgot to check the little box. By default, this is not checked, so you got to make sure you check the little box here. Now hit enter return, and again, one more time. This is good that this is happening, because it'll show you the mistakes. You have to have this checked, and you have to have the photo selected, which I don't believe I actually had. Yeah, I didn't. I have to re-select the photo. Each time I try this, it deselects the photo. So crop after we select the photo, bring it up like this, and then make sure this is checked, and then hit enter return. It is a little bit buggy at times, so you just got to be aware of that. You have to have the layer selected. That's a little bit better. You can further refine it by adding, some cloning of your own. But that's a pretty decent job overall, as a unique image, all done on the fly through the power of content aware with the crop tool. So that's it for this tutorial on the crop tool in Adobe Photoshop CC. Until next time, cheers.